Why fight progress?
Hi, Zizaran here, and I wanted to make a quick little video about why I play hardcore in Path of Exile and why I play solo self-found. This is just going to be a thoughts video. It's not like any like crazy tips or anything in here. It's just a little bit about why I do it. For me personally, I've pretty much always played hardcore in every game that I can pretty much remember. I sort of accidentally played hardcore in Diablo 1, which didn't even have a hardcore mode because my computer was so unstable that if I died in the game, my computer shut down so frequently that I quite often lost all of my gear. And then obviously Diablo 2 had a hardcore mode, and I like thoroughly enjoyed that. And I remember crying from losing my level 98 sorceress to Stygian Doles while doing Mephisto runs. And it's not so much like, it's not like you don't like love dying, right? It's more the adrenaline rushes you get from not dying. And that's like the thoroughly enjoyable experience, at least for me. I would say it's a lot more time consuming. Both solo self-found and hardcore in Path of Exile are just incredibly much more time consuming. So it's obviously more beneficial. It's more better for streamers. So a lot of people often ask me, like, Zizaran, if you weren't a streamer, would you still play hardcore? And the answer to that is obviously yes. Because I played PoE since 2013, and I've only ever played hardcore. I've, in fact, never had, like, a character that I started on softcore and continued to play, with the exception of, like, the events like Man vs. Stream and things like that, where I have to play blindfolded. So it's just like the type of stuff that I enjoy. I really enjoy that extra adrenaline. Whenever I play Trade League, the economy is very, very different, and being able to kill bosses and stuff like that matters a lot more on hardcore because a lot less can do it. So those items go up a lot in value. And that's like a lot of the charm for me, is that it makes a bigger impact. Whereas like I have a lot of friends that play softcore, and they sometimes complain that, you know, a lot of the bosses aren't worth it unless you're doing it the first 3 days. Whereas on hardcore, bosses can be worth it like months into the league. There's a lot of advantages to playing softcore too. Like it's a bigger economy, and you can pretty much get any item you ever want. And you don't have to deal with the heartache of losing items. A lot of people don't like that. And a lot of people wish there was some sort of medium core in the game where, you know, you only lose some of the things and maybe not your character. So now let's talk about solo self-found, which is the mode where, you know, you can't trade with anyone and you can't play with anyone. You're completely on your own. And this is definitely more impacted by being a content creator, because you're more encouraged to keep playing Path of Exile than doing other games. The longer you can enjoy Path of Exile, the better for you, especially financially and stuff, right? That's definitely impacted by me being a streamer, because I think Trade League would be more enjoyable for me if I was only going to play like 2 months out of the league. But, you know, I'm more encouraged to play 3 months as a streamer. I've, the last 3 leagues, been like ditching after 2 months and then playing like DayZ or Terraria or other games. And that's been a lot of fun. But, you know, the longer I can make myself enjoy the game, the better for me, obviously. There are a lot of benefits to solo self-found there. The game has changed quite a lot lately. Whereas there's not that many chase uniques anymore. Like, there's probably like at least less than 20, probably less than 10 items that are like incredibly exciting for me to get. That are also like something you actually will get. Like, obviously, sure, yeah, mirror's exciting, but I've had 3 mirrors in 21,000 hours. So I'm not going to be like, oh, cool, dude, I'll get a mirror this league. There's not that many exciting things that can drop in Trade League. The best example I have is Impulsa. Impulsa was an item I had never dropped on solo self-found, or not dropped for like 6 or 9 months. And I had one during Heist League, and I was so fucking excited because you're not really guaranteed an Impulsa. It's actually quite a rare drop. I looked at the price on Trade League and it was like 15 chaos. And I'm like, dude, if I'd been playing Trade League, this wouldn't even have been an exciting moment for me. It wouldn't even have registered. Part of the charm, I think, for solo self-found for me is that nearly everything can be a chase item. Obviously, this adds a lot of tedium for players that don't play a lot, but when you play as much as I do, and you're able to plan around it, you have a lot of knowledge about what can happen, what can't happen, that also makes it for me that like even a cluster jewel could be a chase item, or a certain influence based. Obviously, Harvest changes this quite a lot, But I think the game is in an amazing mode for solo self-on right now. I don't really care what other people play. I if people like hardcore, that's great. But I more than anything, I really hate the toxicity of like caring about what other people do. As long as like people aren't breaking the terms of service, I don't give a shit about how other people are enjoying the game. Could not care less. And that's something I always thought was really weird. For those that don't know, there used to be like an insane amount of toxicity around playing hardcore where you basically wouldn't even admit to playing softcore, which is terrible because we're playing this game for enjoyment. So like shitting on other people makes no sense unless you're playing standard. Nah, I'm just kidding. I actually used to hate it. I used to be super anti solo self-on because I'm a big Trade League fan. But just because of the amount of chase items being gone, and I also feel a large part of it for me is boss drops being devalued so heavily. They've like kind of like systematically destroyed the value of boss drops. Like Starforge is kind of garbage now. Like everything Uber Azir drops. Like there's just so few things that are exciting to get from bosses now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play solo self-on. I don't need to do boss service for anyone. Like there's no point in that. So that is like kind of sad for me. I do wish we would see like a resurgence in like a big buff for some boss uniques. I feel like there needs to be chase items from bosses. And another thing that I feel like kind of ruins this a little bit is divination cards. I think divination cards is one of the best ideas in Path of Exile, but I kind of hate how they've like turned out with like some of the boss uniques. I don't think there should be a divination card for Dying Sun. I don't think there should be a divination card for Starforge. And if there is, it probably should be a pity card that only drops off either other really hard bosses or that boss, so that sure, you did like 50 shapers and you didn't get a Starforge, but at least you got the card for one. And that card probably shouldn't be able to drop off diviners in stacked decks. This is not really much of an issue in solo self-on. Again, just another Trade League issue where just because of the sheer amount of people opening diviners, you can actually get a Starforge in Trade League 10 to 15 hours into the league. Whereas most people won't be able to do Shaper by then. That's like sort of some of the issues I've had with Trade League there. Obviously, it's fun to play with people as well. I did that recently for the flashback, just as like a 1 or 2 week excursion, go back in Trade League, and I played with Embu, and that was pretty fun. But it's changed quite a lot for me, and I feel like it's a lot more enjoyable. But generally, that's also always been how I enjoy playing games. It's just the adrenaline rush of almost dying. That's how I look at it. I just wanted to make like a little like thoughts video. There's also like harder scenarios like the Gauntlet, which is a private league event we do once every league, where basically every damage mon is enabled. And it's been really cool because I know like such a large amount of like people that are regularly softcore players will actually try the Gauntlet and go really slow, completely different play style. And they seem to be really enjoying it, even though they don't normally play hardcore. So that's really cool. It's been like cool to see other people enjoy like that side that I like to play as well. So a lot of people are mixing it up. Actually, something I just thought of that is a very, very big difference between hardcore and softcore. And people often ask me like, dude, Ziz, how can you stomach leveling so many characters? But leveling characters on hardcore is completely different than softcore, because something somebody in my chat pointed out was that it's, I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but they said it was borderline pointless to level characters in softcore, or at least that it just felt like a chore, because you don't have to care about items while leveling, right? Like, okay, I died 40 times during the campaign. Okay. I face rushed Kitava down 30 times. I don't need to have fire rest, right? You can just slam your face into everything and it doesn't matter. Whereas on hardcore, you do need to actually care about your gear while leveling, and that makes it a lot less of a chore, I think. So that is probably one of the biggest benefits. A lot of people that have tried hardcore that came from software have said that it's more enjoyable to level characters there because, you know, it matters more. Whereas in software, you can just base rush things down. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I just wanted to make like a thoughts video. I don't know if you guys like these, but you know, feel free to say if you do or if you don't. Either way, trying to do a lot of YouTube content right now, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Thank you guys so much for watching all the videos. Thanks for subbing. And the most important thing of all, try to die less than I do.